Denny, I wanted to start out here because the first time I came here, I was just enchanted by this entry in this darling gate and your barberries, which...
Red rocket barberry. Look at the sun on it, Martha. Isn't that pretty?
It's beautiful. Well, come on in. Let's give them a tour of your yard and some hints for winterizing. I wanted to start out here because I think this is one of the prettiest parts of your whole garden. And we're here today with Denny McDougall and her husband Stewart, who is lurking around, and we're going to talk about her yard for one thing. She was going to be on the garden tour this year, and that sort of got, and so you get a little bit of seeing her yard in this little tour. Plus, she's going to talk about how she winterizes her garden, right?
Yes. Yes. It starts very functionally. The tables, the benches, they all go underneath the porch. And then all of these pots have to be protected, not only so that the pots themselves will not break by being frozen and then thawed again, but also I like these plants, and some of them are perennials. Not all of them, these are little annuals. So what I do is I take them and I put them underneath the porch. Would you like to see how I do that?
I would.
Well, let's move over to the porch. Excuse me. Now it is still too early to do it because the plants are still doing very well with their green leaves. But what I will do, this is just a yellow smoke bush. Bring this up. I have a few others here just to give you a rough idea. These are abelias. The large ones go in the back. Now this is a little bit slanted. So I take just some little wood debris from my husband's shop, and I try to get the plants as flat as I can because during the winter time I water these, the perennials. This Stewart just recently made me, and I absolutely love it. It's wedged.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So now I don't have to worry about propping everything up and finding two pieces of wood the same depth. Thank you. Then I take the plastic wrap. You can buy this in big rolls from moving companies or from any of the garden shops. And I weave it in around each of the plants. Here, Mark, you want to take that? Now, understand there are going to be several rows of potted plants here, but what we do is basically surround each of the pots with the plastic wrap, and what that does is keep the cold off of the roots. I also put it up just above above the soil, and what that does is keep them from being damaged with frost. Snow can get in here, that doesn't matter. If we have a lot of frost, which is usually not the case, but I'll bring out a sheet, and it's easy. I can just lay it over everything all at once.
Oh.
And I've never lost a plant all winter long.
Oh, it's wonderful.
So the potted plants, I don't have a garage to put them in. This is the next best thing because we do have a porch here. I don't know if you can see it, but it protects them from the cold night air.
Cool.
So that's basically
and
everything.
you bring
we do
your
here.
furniture in over here?
It goes in on the side of the porch over here. Yeah.
Let's see how you winterize those rhododendrons you're talking about.
Good. That's over here.
On our way to see how you do the rhododendrons, we got to stop here at this smoke bush.
That bush is about 5 years old, and Stuart and I decided we did not want it to grow into a tree, so we wait until spring and mulch it. Prune it. And enough to keep it away from where we have to mow. And so it keeps it within its bounds of the beds there. And I just absolutely love it like that. I think the colors, especially when the sun is on it in this time of year, is just stunning. We don't cut it down much. I mulch it for the winter. Again, everything benefits from mulch and also from not too much fertilizer, but so many of us wait until way late winter to fertilize or say mulch things, and yet mulch should be on plants now because then the rains take all that wonderful nutrition into the earth for the roots, and especially do that on our raised beds in the vegetable garden.
Great.
So that takes almost no care. I just prune it and mulch it, that's all.
Wonderful. So these rhododendrons, you do the same as you do the one out here?
Yes. Yeah, this again, so many of these wonderful little maple trees, they drop their leaves, so it has a natural mulch to it, but rhododendrons have very shallow roots, and so I get Well, we have a certain number of fir trees, and as the branches break and the winds bring trees down, I just bring all of those branches and I run them around the edges, the drip lines of these plants. This is a camellia, but on these 3 rhodies. And then it just is the best way in the world to keep the frost off of them in the winter.
Great idea.
Off of the roots. I don't worry so much about the leaves.
Yeah.
They are from the Pacific Northwest. They should be able to handle that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
And I have one more big one out here.
That you've already mulched.
I already have done it, and it's just so simple. And you know, rather than burn this, what this does is that all these wonderful nutrients from the needles go back into the soil. There's absolutely nothing simpler than protecting the roots this way. It's just a branch from a fallen large tree that came down last week in that storm, and that's it.
I want to come out here and see these begonias, which are mind-blowing if you ask me. Can you tell us about them?
This is the 5th year that these tubers from these begonias, that I've overwintered them and had them re-bloom in all summer long.
Show one up to the light.
Oh yeah, okay. They're beautiful. They almost look like roses, and then this has this lovely combination of yellow and orange. But what I do with these, once they have died down, I dig out the tuber. I put it in a shoebox, you know, kind of shake off the soil, let it dry just a little bit, put it in a shoebox, and I sprinkle sulfur on it. You can buy sulfur at Sunset, easy. And then I put it in my little garden shed, and towards the bottom of the floor where it'll stay a little warmer than up high, and make sure that the shoebox has holes in it. And I don't know, maybe once a month come in, check on them, make sure they're okay. Don't put any water on them or anything else. And when things warm up in the summer, I replant them, and they like only morning sun. You don't want any afternoon sun on them.
So
And
could you
there they go.
propagate some babies
Sure.
for plant sale? We could auction those, you know, they're very special.
With a photograph of what they will look like,
Yeah,
not what they
yeah,
do
yeah,
look
yeah,
like.
yeah.
Yeah, they're ugly when they just are tubers. No offense. But anyway, you have to prop them up with something because we are on a north-south basis here, or axis, and so when the wind catches them, boy, it can really blow them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
But
great.
they also are beautiful in hanging baskets.
Oh, I bet. I love these steps. So what are you growing in here?
This is thyme.
Looks like violets too, huh?
Well, there are also violets, but they are not invited to be there.
Oh, they're sweet.
Well, they're bullies.
Oh,
They came in on something
I
else.
love the way you've mulched these little pathways, and here they've just edged. It's just so neat looking in front of this darling shed.
Years and years ago, when we had a lot of deer in here, the deer made paths. So that's the easiest way to landscape, is to just follow where the deer were going. So it was just a natural. Also, in the wintertime when it's cold and frosty, this is pine bark. And it's just a fine grind, and when it wears down, you just put on more. And it keeps us from slipping in the frosty weather.
And talk about this bush up here.
Oh, Martha, I love this bush. This is a beauty berry. And in just a few weeks, all of the leaves are going to be gone, but these purple lavender shiny berries will stay. So after things are pretty much gone in the garden and the dahlias have died down, this lasts. And it'll last until, I'd say usually it doesn't lose its color till maybe January, February, and then they turn brown.
Oh, wouldn't that make
And-
a beautiful wreath too?
It would, yeah, it would.
All right, let's go into your garden, your little cottage garden. So cute out here. I just noticed you did grass all through here. How great.
I just got a lot of tired of mulch all the time,
I
and this is the
know.
quickest thing to do. I don't have to bother weeding the grass.
Yeah.
This bed is a perfect example of what needs to be done and what I haven't gotten done yet for fall. So the peonies are most definitely ready to be cut down, and as Eric mentioned in that last video, I always leave some part of them so I know where they are, so in the spring when I get excited about going to nurseries, I don't dig them up and kill them while I plant something else.
Yeah, done that.
So all the peonies in here need to be cut. There's a couple that aren't really quite ready. They still have a nice lot of green to them, so I continue to leave those. I feel that feeds the roots as long as possible. And then there are these very tall lilies, and I'm sorry I can't tell you what they are. They have these beautiful, brilliant red blossoms, and they were given to me by Pete Gandini. here on the island. And when Pete thins his yard in the spring, he has all sorts of things he shares, and they too will be mulched. And everything here will be mulched. And then what I do with these, I literally just take the leaves off by going down the stems.
Uh-huh.
It's easier to get them into the compost that way, into a bucket,
Oh, that's a
into the
good idea.
compost. And then I cut these off with a big pair of clippers because they're so, well, they bend, but they don't break, they don't cut easily. Oh, and then my poor sweet little dahlias back there, they're way overgrown, and I need to dig those up and share for the garden sale.
Yes, you do.
Yes, I do.
You do. They're beautiful still.
Yeah, they'll hold in there for a long time, and I won't do anything with those until finally, I'd say the first frost, which will kill the leaves.
I love the way you do your beans. What kind of beans are they?
These are a Blue Lake pole bean, and I raised these almost entirely for drying, so that we'll have these all winter long, and they are still producing.
Huh.
They, I guess maybe this is a warmer fall than usual, but yeah, Stewart just puts in the metal post, I can't think what you, T-bar, and then this is just plastic netting that I can use over and over and over and over again. It'd be nice if I could string it with, you know, twine, but life's too short. And so as the fall goes on and as this dries, it's much easier to pull off of the bedding. Whoops. And then what I will do is use these for about 3 years with the same beans, and then I'll switch them and do beans or peas.
Uh-huh.
But I've got, what, 5 of them here?
What kind are those? They're a foot long, that one up there.
These, I can't tell you the name of these. I'll have to look it up for you, Martha.
It's not like a lima bean or some
No, they're
humongous
actually,
bean?
they're purple on the inside, and I bought the little packet at the food co-op last year. They were 30% off.
Oh,
and I bought them thinking they were going to be
the
the same as these, and then they started growing, and it's as you say. You want to see one? Just a second. I'm not sure I can still, oh yeah. They would grow, and they would grow, and they would grow, and they would twist, and they just are just the neatest bean, and they are delicious fresh, and they're delicious dried. Yeah. And then what else is on here? Chard is still doing really well.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Again, as the plants start to fade, I will put feather meal in here, and I will maybe some bone meal at mulch things, and then cover them. I usually try to get alfalfa, because as alfalfa breaks down, it is just full
Alfalfa what?
Alfalfa straw, hay.
Straw.
Yeah.
Oh.
Do I put hay? Or it's just alfalfa. As it breaks down, it just sends wonderful nutrients into the soil, and I never have to worry about weeds coming up from it. It doesn't really do that. I still have some dill going.
Really?
And
it does not want to die.
It doesn't want to die. It wouldn't be there when I was pickling, but now I have to find something to pickle.
Well, Stewart McDougall's going to show us his wood pile, which is very unusual. How do you do this, and why?
Yeah, actually, this has been a real effective way to stack wood. It takes probably half the time of conventional stacking, and principally you strike a diameter, start stacking the wood, and as you go up, the center, you just pitch the wood in. You don't have to bother to literally arrange it. So it really goes up pretty quick. It's extremely stable. It sheds water. The extra bark goes on top to make a little roof, and just a very effective, quick way to stack wood.
Really?
Very common in Germany and in Northern Europe. So just picking up don't reinvent the wheel, just use other people's tricks. Yeah.
Great. What do you call this?
It's just a shelter to protect the raspberries from the birds.
Looks like a boat.
Well, this shed, actually, the framework started out as a shelter for various boat projects. It was originally about 80 feet long as we were building wood spars. We would then cover it with plastic. For this purpose, we needed a little more width at the top, so I added those little bit of beaming at the top, and it provides great shelter for keeping the birds out and allows plenty of room for the ventilation for the raspberries. Different parts of it are now in different houses around the island for different, serving different purposes as it finds new life and keeps going. Recycle the buildings.
Yeah, love it. Well, this has been super, Denny and Stewart, and thank you so much for showing us all around your
bet.
beautiful garden. I love the work you put into it so I can enjoy it because I come over here a lot. And we will leave y'all to it. Looks like you got a lot of work to do.
Yeah. We'll do our garden yoga right
Yeah.
through till springtime.
There you go.
Yeah.